Okay, so what if we told you about an alleged scandal that mixes a presidential name, millions of dollars, and, well, a brand new digital asset?
Sounds like something ripped straight from a movie script, right?
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a really fascinating deep dive. We're looking into an investigation by CoffeeZilla. It's titled $21 million Stolen from the President's Supporters, Insider Trading.
Yeah, it's quite the title.
It is. And this deep dive unpacks allegations of what could, potentially, be the first ever presidential insider trading case. And it's all centered around a meme coin featuring Melania Trump.
And our mission here today, just to be clear for everyone listening, is really to impartially unpack these claims. We'll look at the evidence presented, the broader implications of this whole situation.
Right.
We want to help you understand this pretty complex world where, digital assets meet public figures. We'll explore how these alleged schemes reportedly work, break down some key terms.
Yeah, that'll be useful.
Definitely. And discuss what it suggests about the pretty significant vulnerabilities in this whole crypto space.
And importantly, we're focused on understanding the information in the source material.
Right.
We're not here to endorse any viewpoint or, take sides.
Absolutely not. Just presenting the investigation's findings.
Oh, okay, let's dive into the specifics then and try to uncover what CoffeeZilla's deep investigation really claims happened behind the scenes.
Huh?
So maybe start us off. What's the core allegation here? What's at the heart of it all?
Okay, so at its core, the investigation suggests we might be looking at the first instance of presidential insider trading, specifically tied to this Melania Trump meme coin.
God.
The claim is that certain individuals connected to the coin's launch used privileged, non-public information. They used it to effectively snipe the token.
Snipe?
Yeah, basically buying it before it was publicly announced. And through this, they allegedly profited by tens of millions of dollars. The article itself really focuses on proving about $21 million of that profit trail.
Sniping. It sounds pretty aggressive. Can you, define that a bit more for us in this context?
Sure. So sniping in crypto, it means buying a coin before its public announcement. Often people use automated tools, bots, or, like in this alleged case, insider information.
Right.
They do this anticipating that the price will just, shoot up once the coin hits the public market and all the hype kicks in.
So basically getting a massive head start. And if that's
Yeah.
sniping, then what does insider trading mean specifically here in the crypto world? Is it the same as regular stocks?
It's largely analogous, yeah. It's buying or selling cryptocurrencies based on material, non-public information, stuff the average person doesn't know.
Okay.
And it becomes particularly, problematic if that information comes directly from being involved with the coin's creation or its development, maybe its promotion. You get the idea.
Got it. But, okay, this is all happening on the blockchain,
Yeah.
right? Which people often think of as anonymous. So how do investigators even start tracking something like this? How do you follow the digital money?
That's a really good question. And that's where wallet tracing becomes absolutely critical. It's a key technique here.
Wallet tracing.
Yeah, it involves meticulously analyzing the public blockchain data. You're basically tracking how different crypto wallets are linked together.
Wow.
By following the transaction paths, you identify connections, you see the flow of funds between wallets, even if you don't immediately know who owns those wallets.
So that's where it gets really interesting, because it's maybe not quite as anonymous as some people believe.
Exactly. The ledger is public, even if the names aren't attached directly.
So where did CoffeeZilla actually begin to unravel this specific case? What was the first big red flag they noticed?
Well, the investigation really kicked off when they identified this pretty striking pattern. A full 24 wallets had apparently sniped this Melania meme coin.
24 wallets.
24, meaning these specific wallets bought the coin before any public announcement was made.
And what kind of money are we talking about here for these pre-announcement buys?
The scale is pretty significant. These 24 wallets collectively reportedly made over $100 million in profit.
$100 million. Wow.
Yeah, and out of that massive sum, at least $21 million was specifically attributed to one, let's say, highly suspicious set of these wallets. And that set became the main focus.
That's an incredible amount for just a few wallets. And like you said, the crucial thing is this wasn't just fast bots trading after the announcement.
No,
this was activity before the launch, which seems to clearly indicate foreknowledge, right?
That's the core of the allegation, yes.
So given this pre-announcement stuff, the huge question is,
Yeah.
how did they connect these anonymous-looking wallets to actual specific people?
Right, and that's where the tracing got shall we say more intricate, the investigation started to link two of these key sniper wallets to a specific person, Hayden Davis.
Hayden Davis.
Okay. And is he known in the crypto space?
He is. He'd actually been previously involved in another meme coin controversy. That one was tied to the Argentine president's coin called Libra. So not his first rodeo, apparently. Okay, so there's a pattern. But what was the smoking gun? The critical piece that allowed them to connect his personal wallet to these sniper wallets? That seems like a tricky link to prove.
It was a very specific, seemingly small detail that became huge. Hayden Davis reportedly refunded another public figure, Dave Portnoy.
No, Dave Portnoy from Barstool.
That's the one. He refunded Portnoy from his personal crypto wallet, and that personal wallet was then found through blockchain analysis to be only a few hops away.
Hops, like transaction steps.
Exactly. Just a few transactions away from the sniper wallets in question. It established a direct, traceable link on the public ledger.
Wow. Okay, so that's a pretty strong connection.
And as if that wasn't enough, Davis himself reportedly admitted to sniping the Melania coin in a prior interview, though the report says he allegedly downplayed his role significantly.
Okay, so the pieces are starting to fit together, and this is where the numbers themselves really start to paint a picture, isn't it? Can you walk us through some of the specific alleged trades?
Absolutely. Let's look at Wallet 1, one of the key ones. It allegedly bought about $40,000 worth of Melania coin.
Okay.
Just 2 minutes and 21 seconds before the official public announcement went live.
2 minutes before, and the profit.
That single transaction reportedly resulted in a profit of $2.5 million.
$2.5 million in just over 2 minutes. That's staggering.
It is. And then there's Wallet 2. This one allegedly bought a much larger amount, $800,000 worth of the coin.
$800,000.
Even closer to the announcement, just 49 seconds before. And it reportedly profited a massive $18.5 million.
$18.5 million.
Yeah.
From a buy 49 seconds before launch. That timing feels almost too perfect.
It does raise questions, doesn't it?
Yeah, but what's really noteworthy here, and where this alleged contradiction pops up, is that both of these wallets, the $2.5 million one and the $18.5 million one, they reportedly dumped all their holdings within 30 days. Why is that time frame so important?
It's really significant because the official Melania Coin website, the public face of the project, explicitly stated that team wallets would be locked up. They wouldn't be able to sell for precisely that 30-day period.
Ah, okay, so lockup period for insiders.
Right. So the alleged rapid dumping by these specific wallets suggests they completely bypassed that public promise, which, creates a pretty misleading impression for retail buyers, people who thought they were getting into a fair launch with locked team tokens.
So a direct contradiction. Public promise versus alleged private actions.
Yeah.
Now, the investigation apparently goes even deeper using text leaks. Who was involved in these?
Yeah, these reported leaks were apparently between Kelsier, that's Hayden Davis's company,
Right.
DeFi Tuna, which was a marketing firm they contracted, and some other parties. And what's revealed in these leaks is, well, pretty telling, according to the report.
What did they show?
The team was allegedly discussing, and I quote, market-making Melania coin pre-launch.
Market making, pre-launch. That already sounds suspicious.
It does. It suggests a coordinated effort to sort of manipulate or set up the market before the public even knew the coin existed.
Were there any, specific transactions or requests in those messages that really stood out?
Yes, one very specific detail emerged. Gideon Davis, who is Hayden's brother.
Okay, another family member involved.
Right. He allegedly asked Vlad from the marketing firm DeFi Tuna for $1.5 million in Solana, that's another cryptocurrency, right before the launch.
$1.5 million. What for?
Well, the timing and context strongly suggests this was set up capital, specifically intended for this alleged sniping activity, funding the operation, essentially.
And where did those funds reportedly go from there? Did they trace at $1.5 million?
Yes, the alleged flow of funds is quite clear, according to the tracing. These funds reportedly fed directly into those sniper wallets.
The ones that made the millions.
The very same ones that then executed those perfectly timed pre-announcement trades we just discussed.
Okay, and then the profits. Where did the alleged $21 million plus go?
The sniper wallet supposedly funneled those millions right back, eventually landing in Hayden Davis's personal wallet or wallets strongly linked to him.
Wow.
What's kind of fascinating here in a technical way is how clearly the blockchain data can apparently illustrate these connections. It leaves this sort of digital breadcrumb trail.
A digital trail that sounds pretty hard to argue with if the tracing is accurate.
Mm.
Now, beyond the transactions, the investigation also looks at Hayden Davis's own statements, right, in interviews.
All right.
Were there any major contradictions between what he apparently said and what the data seems to show?
Oh, absolutely. Several, according to CoffeeZilla. For instance, Davis reportedly claimed in an interview that they weren't the biggest snipers involved.
The data.
The blockchain data directly contradicts that claim, suggesting the wallets linked to him were in fact responsible for the largest chunk of the identified sniping profit.
Okay, what else?
He also reportedly stated that Melania's team, implying maybe Melania herself or her official staff, didn't profit from this. Yet, the wallets tied directly to his company, and allegedly to him personally, did see massive profits according to the trace.
So some clear inconsistencies there.
Yeah, and CoffeeZilla's investigation really emphasizes what it calls circumstantial but strongly triangulated evidence.
Triangulated, meaning from multiple sources.
Exactly. They're combining the blockchain records, Davis's own alleged admissions from interviews, those insider text messages, and the financial movements between the wallets. It shows how you can leverage this public blockchain data for some serious investigative journalism.
It really does. Now, obviously, this story has huge political overtones, given the name involved. How does the CoffeeZilla investigation handle that politically sensitive aspect?
Well, CoffeeZilla is actually very careful to state explicitly that he found no evidence suggesting Melania Trump herself was aware of or involved in these alleged activities.
Okay, that's an important point.
Very. However, the core claims are that people around her, whether they were contractors working on the project or partners or whoever, Hayden Davis and his team, were allegedly used privileged access and insider information for their own personal gain.
Right. And there's a theme CoffeeZilla uses, which kind of sums up the frustration in these situations. Crime is legal. What's the point he's making there?
It really underscores this perception, this feeling that there's often a lack of real enforcement or accountability when it comes to these big crypto scandals. Like, the rules either don't exist or they aren't being applied effectively in this new space.
A sort of regulatory gray area or vacuum.
Precisely. And this whole investigation, it vividly reveals these deep structural vulnerabilities within the whole meme coin culture.
How so?
Well, it's a space where massive hype, alleged insider deals, and frankly, public deception can just rapidly combine. It really paints that picture of crypto as a kind of Wild West.
So even now.
Especially, it seems, when these ventures get tangled up with, big names and figures from the highest levels of politics.
And framing this as a presidential scandal. That isn't just for clicks, is it? The article seems to suggest something broader.
Yeah, the implication is that political influence itself is now being sort of weaponized or leveraged in these new age digital grifts. It's merging politics, celebrity, and crypto into what the author calls a really potent scam cocktail.
A scam cocktail. That's quite a phrase. So, okay, bringing this all together, what does this really mean for you, our listener? I mean, our deep dive into these Melania Memecoin allegations, it really shows the complexities, right? And the potential pitfalls where these new technologies, public figures, and money all collide.
Exactly. And this deep dive, it's not just about, one single alleged scam. It really serves as a stark reminder of how quickly these financial schemes can adapt and weaponize trust and public influence, especially in spaces that maybe aren't heavily regulated yet.
Yeah.
We've explored how alleged insider info, that intricate wallet tracing we talked about, and these conflicting public statements can weave together this narrative of just how vulnerable the meme coin space can be. And it really just underscores the huge importance of critical thinking, and doing your own due diligence, especially when there's a lot of hype and maybe some big names involved.
It's a powerful reminder that this landscape of financial schemes is evolving incredibly quickly, adapting to new tech all the time.
It really is. And maybe, as a final thought for you to sort of mull over, thinking beyond the specifics of this case, what does the actual emergence of things like presidential meme coins or similar celebrity-driven crypto ventures tell us about how influence and speculation and even accountability are changing in our increasingly digital age?
That's a big question.
It is, and it leads to others, right? Like, what new kinds of regulation or maybe just transparency measures might actually be needed as these different worlds, politics, finance, digital assets, continue to merge and overlap like this?
Definitely something to think about. Well, we hope this deep dive has given you a clearer picture of what is undeniably a fascinating and maybe somewhat concerning situation.
Hope it was useful.
Until next time, keep digging deeper.